Hey everybody, welcome to episode 60 of the All JuveCast. And this was the big match everybody was waiting for. Round one of Juve against Merda, now with Conte there. And this one didn't disappoint. And joining me today, special guest who wanted to make the appearance after facing these clowns was Auber. Auber, how are you doing, my man?
Alberto, man, all very good. But calm down. You know, if we did this podcast straight after the game, I think we would have had to do a rating of 18. I think
Yeah,
most Juventini felt like that. But
yeah, I
all good,
agree
thanks.
100%. And you know what? It probably doesn't hurt to let everybody know that this might get carried away still, even having a day's rest between the match and our recording here, just because. Oh man, just for me, it's amplified. It got really, really amplified this time around, and I haven't had that feeling for the Derby d'Italia in quite some time. Were you feeling that? Were you feeling the hatred almost increase a little bit?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the build-up, obviously, Inter knocking out the wins, albeit an easier rota at the start of the season, but the build-up was intense. I think Inter were running a high wave. Even they played pretty well against Barcelona. I hate to admit that on the first half, but and Juventus obviously dropping points against Fiorentina. The big beast, which we call Conte, playing with coaching our enemy Inter. It was just it was incredible. Twitter went overdrive, and it was getting intense coming up to the game. Like even the professional media. I mean, the media were hyping this game up to be a great match. So it was
Yeah,
nerves were running high, to say the least.
absolutely, absolutely. And of course, it was just it's never a dull moment with Juve. And Marquisio, I talked about on the last podcast. He's coming out. He had made an announcement that he was going to have a press conference at our stadium, and I speculate there was a lot of speculation there, but it was what I figured, that he was retiring from football. So fans got pretty emotional with that, and have to
Yeah.
say, goodbye now. And we, of course, got to watch him come out to the pitch, and he had his kids with him. They were taking photos. It was awesome. It was cool to see. And he actually, before he walked off, bent over and grabbed bit of the blades of the grass there and put it in his pocket. And it's just it's so typical to see. I mean, that guy just bled black and white for so long, and it was a cool moment. I hope we get a little something more in terms of a farewell to him. Hopefully, something at the stadium during one of the matches. I think he deserves a lot more. It still kind of hurts to think about. It kind of hurts to see these images of him, after the press conference, grabbing those, grabbing the grass and putting it in his pocket and stuff. I just so much love for Marquisio. And I wore one of his kits for this particular match, and I'm actually skipping the whole milestone for followers and actually going to give away a Marquisio kit within the next week here, just in tribute of Principino. And your thoughts on that, seeing him do his farewell and whatnot. And what was your favorite Marquisio moment with
Um,
Juve there, Albert?
yeah. Well, I think you just to that one point at press conference, and I think it was very poignant when he bent over and he kind of took those snippets of grass, and I think that moment summarized what he was about for Juventus and what Juventus meant to him as a club, his life. I mean, 8 years old, comes through the ranks. When he came to Serie B, when everyone deserted us apart from the famous five, he stuck out. He came up to the platform, and ever since he's always been a fixture for our guys. And it's emotional, I think, and I think that coinciding with the Inter game with high emotions, I think a lot of people were charged. And seeing that press conference on Thursday was kind of, yeah. I mean, I've never seen the kind of people wanting to know what time's the conference. Everyone was trying to get around to hear what he has to say and his thoughts, and a lot of montages, some great montages out there on his career. And
Yeah,
my favorite moment has to be the one that he scored against Inter. It was just, it's I just. It
yeah.
is. it's, of all the people, of all the teams, I mean, him coming through, it's just that number 8. It's a hard number to fill, and we'll miss him. I think he was a great servant for the club. I think most of the tifosi felt a bit unjust by the way he left, and I think it would have been great if we had some sort of like a Totti send-off type of play. Yeah. Yes, I mean he's not as decorated as Totti as an international player, as a world-class player, but for our club he was our man, and it's a sad day for us to see him go, and he's young. He's 31. Is he 31? I think 31 or 32.
Yeah, he's pretty young still. Yeah, it's just injuries, too, got the better of him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just sucks. He definitely deserves a very, very nice farewell, and I hope that they do that for him. It would be cool, too, if, a lot of people are hoping if maybe he had some kind of role within the club, and that may be a possibility in the future. Who knows? But it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. You touched on it too. That's probably my favorite Marchisio moment, and he's got a few, I believe, against Inter. But that one we're talking about is that rebound where he was in tight on the D-man and he cut him and then chipped
over the keeper.
Yeah, it was just such a nice goal from in tight, and of course these snakes and thieves that we're talking about that we played this past match, and. Yeah, what a match. Oh, man, I was jacked up. But, leading up to it, obviously we had a petition going around that apparently 15,000 Juventini signed off, and it was in regards to Conte and having his star removed from outside the stadium there, and I want to quickly get your take on that because it plays a huge part in the build up here. Conte obviously was saying some things, fans were getting this, it is getting heated, and and just adding to our feelings and our anxiety almost leading up to this match and whatnot. But the actual thought of it, just thinking on this alone, removing Conte's star, what's your take on that?
Look, I understand. I understand both sides of the story, and I can understand the anger of the fans because Conte going to our rivals. But I tweeted a few days ago, facts don't lie. I'm all about facts, numbers, and stats. And the fact that Conte did so much for our club as a player initially, winning Champions League, UEFA, Europa, loads of trophies for us. He's done immense for the club as a player. Agnelli said it. These stars are not given diddle-daddle. They're given to merit for players what they've done for the club. And Conte back in the 90s, now I'm a 90s child, I remember him. Again, it was the old, like the old Marchisio filling that void. He wasn't a world-class player, but my goodness, did he get stuck into the game. He was, a rough and tough player, and he won so much. He did so much for the club. And then coming back to the club as a coach, winning, bringing us back to the top, 3 in a row. I personally think, right, as a player, we should recognize him as a player. Keep the star, right? It becomes a manager, it's a different ballgame. It's a chapter closed as a player. We cannot expect every Juventus player in the history of Juventus not to coach Milan, Napoli, Inter, Man United. We can't expect to do that, especially Inter. I get it. Listen, of all teams, I despise La Merda FC. I despise them, right? Of what they stand for, their fans, how they're so belittling of all the other teams and players. But Conte is now, it was a business opportunity for him as a project. And like I said in my tweet, take your personal life. If you were offered an opportunity with your rival company with a new project to take on board from the get-go, then you would be a fool not to take it. Now, it's rubbed people the wrong way. I say keep the star, close the chapter on as a football player. He's a manager now. It's a complete different part of his life, and we need to accept that. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing we can do with that.
Yeah. So, and I agree with you on that. I mean, I think. I mean, if I put myself in his shoes on this one, my decisions to take a job shouldn't reflect what I had given a club during my playing days and whatnot. So I would feel pretty heartbroken, honestly, if this was something being discussed seriously and people sign petition. I'd be pretty choked. Having said that, though, he brings on a lot of things himself, and he kind of has with this as well, and that's why I understand the fans that are running away with this, and the things he says, the things he does, the things he did while he was still coach at our club, and said while he was still coach at our club. Yeah. The way he bailed, I completely understand. I completely understand fans that would feel that way. For me, though, as a player and what he did, he earned that star. It was given to him. I don't think it should be taken away. Not for this, anyways. There might be an instance where somebody does something so horrific that you want to just wipe them up, but this is not what we're talking about. No. So I think it's just, I get it, but for me, I would just leave it alone. And I even said it when he first kind of took the job. I hate Merida. I absolutely hate that club. And when he took the job, it's thank you for everything you've done for us in the past, but you are dead to me now moving forward. And that's how I leave.
Exactly. I look, everyone's entitled to their opinion of who, on players, coaches, etc. And to your point, Conte, for me, that chapter's closed. I cannot see him coming back to Juventus as a coach, obviously. That chapter's closed now. And obviously, the fact is, look, we have to move on from it. I mean, we'll talk about this as well, his post-match interview. It was interesting what he said there. It was a indirect compliment to us, but we'll get to that point. But yeah, and this I think to your right at the beginning of the podcast, it's added to this energy, this tension that everyone's. I haven't felt like this in a long time.
And you have Juve prior to this match reopening the appeal for the titles, and I kind of laughed, and I put a tweet out there, and I said, is this Juve just kind of like we're gonna mess with them a little bit. We were messing with them with Lukaku all summer.
I think
are we gonna mess with them a little more, or is it just we're gonna keep this going for? And I said, is it gonna have any bearing on the current roster? Probably not. Is it funny? Yeah, it's a little funny to me. Should we ever stop it? Absolutely not. In my eyes, never stop that. I don't care if we appeal from now until the end of time. We are gonna appeal that.
Yeah, you got to give it to the board. I mean, to Juventus, giving it the kind of timing of it, the game, etc. I think you hit it nail on the head. I think this whole Lukaku thing, it was just a toy. It was just trying to off the field tactics, and it's you win a battle off the field and you win the battle on the field. And Conte is very good at doing that as well, but off the field
for sure.
And he does that really well, and that's why he tends to, that's why he gets everyone riled up about it. But
it's just interesting, all these things happening leading up to this game, and this Derby d'Italia has not had this feel for so long. And then we heard about, obviously sellout crowd, San Siro, huge revenue from the ticket sales and whatnot. And it was awesome to see finally again, and we haven't had that for a while, and it's good. And then we get to the match day. We just absolutely couldn't wait. Everybody was losing it, and I felt oddly calm that morning. And I get amped up for all the games. I don't care if it's Spal. I don't care who it is. I get so jacked up for games. And I start, analyzing before we're even close to warm-ups. It's just like, oh, what's he going to do with the lineup? How are we going to play? What's going to happen? And this one, I woke up, spent a little time with my wife, my daughter, think I took the dog out for a quick walk, and then I put my Marquisio kit on. My father and I, my father Giovanni, we like to watch all the games together, but we haven't been able to lately because just work schedule and whatnot, and it hasn't worked out. But this one, he made sure he cleared the schedule, and we were gonna sit down and get together. So I packed up my stuff, went over to his house. We had our pre-game espresso in our Juve cups. We sit down, and he looks at me, and I go, we actually had dinner a couple nights prior, and I said the whole time, I said 2-1 Juve. And he was a little doubtful, and he's like, I think we're gonna have a draw, he's like, Conte's teams are so amped, I don't know if we're gonna match the intensity. And I said 2-1. I don't see Juve losing this. And I called it after my last podcast, before we even got close to lineups or anything. I said, you know what, that's gonna be a grind, but Juve will edge it out, because Inter, this is going to be the test. This is the big dogs coming into their house, and I want to see it. I want them to prove it to me, that they're worthy of all this friggin' hype coming around them. And we had another close family friend who's he's also a Juventino at the dinner, and he goes, you think they're going to win 2-1? And I go, oh yeah, absolutely. I go, Juve wins this by 1 goal. They'll win it. And then, I was just oddly calm on game day, and I just couldn't figure out. I was like, and then you get some people razzing you on Twitter, oh, that's because, you're ready for Conte to pistol whip you boys and stuff like that. And I'm like, come on, that's not happening. It ain't happening. But let's take you through on game day before we get to the match and how you're feeling.
No. I think it was yourself, or actually it was. I think it was one of the guys here in England that mentioned about what your pre-match rituals, and everyone came back with what they did. Then Jay Simpson, a great guy as well, great.
He's a beauty. Jordan's a beauty. He was my guest on Jordan, the last one.
Exactly, yeah. And he was. Well, I'll be honest with you. My day, I was. I was pumped. I wasn't calm. I was. I think. I'm, past is past, but I still have this bitter chip on my shoulder about Calciopoli, how we cannot take them back to court, because they are the proven their corruption and what they've done, but they were unscathed by it. So I'm pretty sour about that, and I was pretty pumped all day. I mean, I am, reading different, more than usual, waking up in the morning, having my coffee, espresso, and reading all the different media outlets, be it Tuttosport, Gazzetta dello Sport, English news outlets. I mean, even in England, they were pumping this game up pretty much on all the media outlets. And even on the Twitter, on the trending page, it was Inter Juve on that page. So it was pretty, the spotlight was on there. Maybe because we had Sarri and Conte, both ex-Chelsea, maybe the English connection there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, before the game, couldn't eat, just too nervous. Not nervous about not losing the game, but nervous, just the bunch of nerves, like you would always do. So that kind of feeling when you go into the stadium and you get that knots in the stomach. And basically have my traditional. Well, I wouldn't say it's a nice way or anything, but go to the toilet, have number 2, just get everything out clear, and
the nerves will do that to you, man. The nerves will do that to you.
It's like that. I watched the 45 minutes before the warm-ups, so the warm-ups of the game, which I usually don't do. So watching the players on the pitch doing their warm-ups. Seeing who's in, how they're looking, how they're talking to each other. I was maybe over-analyzing it, maybe. I was just, I was really hyped. It was, it was, again, I didn't go to a pub, didn't go anywhere. Stayed at home, in the close of my own house, because I get very animated, and some of my friends know how loud I get. So
that's awesome. You'd fit right in with me and my dad when we get together and watch these things. It's insane. I don't think we're allowed in public to watch Juve games together. But so we see the starting lineups. I was perfectly fine with the starting lineup. My only question was Bernardeschi in the lineup. I was fully anticipating Ramsey and behind Dybala and Ronaldo. And I did hear that prior to the match, it was going to end up being Higuain. And that's what made me think that, okay, we're probably going to see Bernardeschi if Higuain's in. but when I saw Dybala and I saw Bernardeschi there, I was a little surprised. And I wasn't sure if they were going to go Bernardeschi in the hole or if they were going to play him on the wing. And the only reason was because the last match, he was actually not very effective in the hole. And then they switched him out to the wing, and he looked better. It still left a lot to be desired, but he looked better. Let's get your take real quick before we get to the match on the lineup.
Yeah, listen, classic, well, to look at Merda, 3-5-2, Conte doing his classic 3-5-2, who felt he introduced this whole concept of that formation. Sarri playing his 4-3-1-2, Ronaldo, Dybala up front, which I was not surprised because it looks, and not to get ahead of myself, the chemistry is starting to click. Yeah. Back ball passes. Disappointed to see Ramsey off the sheet, and obviously there was the talk of an injury, which I only found out after the game. Bernardeschi in the hole, which I was thinking, again, to your point, Eka, your point, concerning. And then the three, it's becoming like the three stooges of our midfield, Khedira, Pjanic, and Matuidi. And yeah, that we'll talk about those three later on, especially Pjanic. And the back four, the Renaissance, that Italy just released the green jersey, and so there's a Renaissance of Cuadrado. Now, I'm the first to say it, and people know I'm not the biggest fan of Cuadrado, but the last few games he's proven me wrong, and I've eaten my hat on that one.
We're gonna touch on Cuadrado in this one,
and then Bonucci and De Ligt, obviously, is a no-brainer there. I would have personally liked Di Marelis there, just because of his fiery attitude. The Paulo Montero coming smashing, going hard, especially if Skriniar was in there, and Sandro, because we don't really have much left on the left back there. So it was a bit surprised with Bernardeschi of all players.
Yeah, I agree. And like Demiral, it would be great for the physicality, but he's a bit of a question mark there in such a big match, because we saw him try to do way too much in his debut at home there, and then now to throw him in a Derby d'Italia, especially when De Ligt and Bonucci is starting to really click. And Bonucci's been, we're going to touch on him too in this one. But yeah, okay. So I was calm. Everything's cool. The game kicks off. I'm instantly on the edge of my seat, and I'm jacked up. And so is my dad, and we lose it. And then, 3 minutes in, Pjanic with a great ball. Dybala finding it. One feint, and then strikes her. I lose it. I absolutely lose it. I've lost all control, and we're only 3 minutes into the match. I'm losing. My dad's losing it. Running around the living room. I'm saying all sorts of swears. Like I'm combining swear words to create new swear words. It's just getting out of control. Here is my sweet mother just sitting on the couch watching me and my dad act fools. And she's totally fine with it. She's like, "Oh, that was a great goal." Yeah, thanks, Mom. Yeah, well, it was a great goal. But yeah, that was really quick. And
wasn't expecting that.
Great to see from Dybala, but yeah, great ball from Pjanic. A little bit back and forth at the start of the match. Obviously, Dybala gets that one. And then, there was the time when I think it clicked for Merda, and it was during the back and forth, because they were coming at us, but they were just crossing it in. They seemed to, it's typical of Conte, crossing it in. But then we come back, Ronaldo gets an opportunity, he finds space for himself and just lets a rocket go, and it's off the bar. And I'm just like, I'm biting my hand. I'm like, why? Like, just dip in there, like, get this guy going, because you know what? Some people have been on him and whatnot, but he's been playing great. He's just, you know what? He started off last season. He didn't get a goal for a while too. He does have goals here. It's just, I'm not worried about him whatsoever, especially because the play, what we're creating, is so good. So some people are going to worry about, but you could tell when he smacked that bar, that was the whole fuck moment for Merda. And they started to say, okay, we're going to have to play on the counter with these boys. Because and this is the beauty of Juve, and it's like, if you want to play wide open with us, you're going to get punished. And that you could tell that was when it was like, okay, we're going to have to be way more controlled, because I think they thought they were going to literally just play on the run and bully us and overtake us, and when it was just like boom, boom, but go ahead on your thoughts on that quick little exchange early on.
Said, I think you described that in one word what Inter were trying to do that in that whole game, and it proves in the stats 22 fouls. It's bullying the game.
Yeah.
And I think Conte knew that. He said, Conte, rush on them, play them, bully them, kind of rough off the ball, and you could see that. And you know what? When I think most Tifosi wasn't expecting a goal within the third, fourth minute, right, from Dybala, of all players as well, because Dybala's had a lot of stick this summer and a lot of things going around him. And, you know, as soon as he scored, it's a classic, then obviously Inter needs to retaliate and react to that. But then to your point, when Ronaldo cut into his right and hit that ball right to the crossbar, it was just deafening. It was just like, okay, shit, now we need to be careful now. And Inter's like, okay, we can attack them, but we forget that there is a man like Ronaldo ready to pounce on any ball that he's going to get in there. And like you were saying, it was just, it was just incredible. I think the intensity Juventus shown in the first 15, 20 minutes of always going after that ball, 2 players on 1 player, constantly. Now, I appreciate a lot of teams do that to us. You know, the Spals, the Veronas, the smaller teams tend to do that to us. You know, hustle us off the ball, like 2 players on our player. But Juventus tend to do that now. And I was thinking, this is what we need. We need this intensity from the get-go. And I did tweet just before the game. We needed 11 warriors. We need 11 warriors on that pitch to really play out their skins and put these merdadi, back in their box where they should belong, under our foot and below the not number 1 spot on the table. And, the guys played out, the first 20 minutes played out their skin. And you could see Inter slowly, getting a bit of control of the ball, and we'll lead up to the next goal, which was obviously a penalty, which...
Yeah, so, we have that quick exchange shortly after 13 minutes, an absolutely laughable yellow to Alexandro. And it was just, yeah, and it was actually just something to expect from this ref, which was honestly just a laughable performance. But we'll get to that. In the 18th, you touched on it. Unfortunate play on the handball against De Ligt. Now, you watching it and it was tough. It looked like it kind of might have hit Lautaro's leg first and then hit Lautaro's hand too. It looked like just a really strange little awkward play. De Ligt obviously timing a little bit off, might have had the arm up a little extra because Lautaro was coming in with his boot. It's tough to gauge. It's tough to read. It was a quick bang bang play, but to my recollection, Rocky didn't go and actually look at it, did he?
No, he immediately gave the penalty, and you can actually see De Ligt saying, go to VAR. He was actually doing the sign, go to VAR. And you know what, yesterday evening, I don't know if you've seen the video, but I reposted some guy's tweet. When you look at the naked eye, like at the instant, it looks like a handball because the arm's up, ball comes underneath, you think, shit, okay, why? But you think it's a natural motion, okay, can't say anything. Go to VAR, and then obviously he has the speaker guy saying, come to look at the VAR, review it, because the guy gave an immediate penalty without even referring to VAR. I'm thinking, okay, fair enough. Even the VAR videos didn't give it all the different angles. The one angle that didn't give was the angle that I tweeted yesterday evening. That shot, the ball actually goes underneath him and hits the leg, and the ball goes up, so it hits him. So it doesn't hit his arm directly, like as he was trying to push the ball out. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if we had that shot down the VAR, that wouldn't have been a penalty. Yeah, clearly.
I saw that video too, and that's just another. It's shocking to me, It just made a mess of it. But anyways, here we are. They get the PK and Merida ties it. And after that, we still...
Did you see Ronaldo, by the way, talk to Szczesny just before the penalty, said, go to your right.
Yeah.
He said it to him. And he went, and he did go to his right, but it was such a powerful shot that right at the bottom as well, which is hard to say.
Yeah, it was a hard shot, and Lautaro actually, I don't know if that changed it because Ronaldo was up to him and he wasn't sure what he was saying, but Lautaro actually, a very slow step-ups to the actual kick and then just hit it so hard. So he kept Szczesny frozen because if he shows where he's going, Lautaro will just go the opposite way. So Szczesny did a really good job waiting to that last possible moment. He just couldn't get there. It was a hard shot. But after that PK, we still control the play from there on. Merida's got their breaks here on the counter. You could tell that's the way they wanted to play. That's the way they were going to do it. Bonucci and De Ligt, take your pick. Either one of them was doing a good job of shutting Lukaku down. So he's not big enough to fit in their pockets, especially Bonucci. They were doing a great job. 34th minute, injury to Stefano Sensi. And, it's funny because Merda, you could see it come up on social media. Well, that's going to change everything, and this is it. And it started there. It started there with them, and I'm okay with it. Whatever. You guys say what you want. He's a big piece for them, for sure. No question. Does Merda have the depth Juve does? No. But we were controlling the play still. I still felt, you know what, we were the ones that were going to get the next one. Especially because their first one, it was just that stupid instance on that PK to get that PK. So I felt fine. We hit the halftime. I felt great at the break, honestly. The only thing bothering me was Bernardeschi being invisible. He did as well. He was running hard. He was creating pressure, but that's not enough in that particular position. And the only reason is just because we're playing a counterattacking team, a team that could be dangerous on the counterattack, and he was losing almost every single one that was coming his way. He barely did anything that was effective in the first, even through the pressure and his constant running, he forced two issues I could think of that entire half that benefited us. But it was really just, it was really disappointing. Other than that, I was actually happy in everyone else's performance, especially obviously Dybala and Ronaldo looking so dangerous and linking up very well, and you touched on it, the chemistry's building, and that's great to see. But Bernardeschi, for me, just brutal in that first half, but when we pick up the tempo, we were unreal. But let's talk what your thoughts were at the break.
Listen, the first half, I was thinking, when Ronaldo hit that cross, I said it should have gone in, because I can see these in Costa Merda going to score another goal. They're going to score a goal, and I think, okay, fair enough. And if I look at all the players first half, Ronaldo, is playing. He played. I don't know what people notice, right? He's not like Messi. Messi takes the ball and runs half the pitch, right? Ronaldo doesn't do that. But what Ronaldo does do, he plays us an effective game. He plays that effective game of going into the hole, trying to make space, and then other players to get involved in the game. And he brings those players together. And that's what he does really well. And the fact Ronaldo, Dybala, to me, at the start of the match was Ronaldo for the game. Bernardeschi, to me, there were two invisible men, Bernardeschi and Khedira. I don't know what Khedira did. I didn't even. Do you know what? The first half, I thought to myself, actually, I've never heard the name Bernardeschi. I haven't heard it. And he had one shot in the second half, which we'll talk about, but one shot. Pjanic, he's coming. He's like a quarterback. He was, apart from the little blimp with Szczesny when he passed the ball, and Pjanic wasn't waiting for that, and that was a bit of a, I hate when Juve do that, trying to play out the back like that. But Matuidi, I've always said this, he's great at getting the ball, but just goddamn, just pass the ball to someone else. Don't try and be Pirlo or Ramsey. Just get the ball and give it to someone else. Just get the ball. It's like with all due respect with Matuidi, it's like a dog. Just get it. Just go get the ball, and that's all you need to do. De Ligt, look, we forget this guy is 20 years old, right? And people are giving a bit of stick to him, right? I mean, he did slip up a couple of times, and gave away kind of cheap free kicks, but the guy's 20, right? He's, like you were saying at the beginning, Derby d'Italia. It's probably the biggest game of this year, of 2019, of half the year, that is, sorry. And you think, give the guy a break, and he's in that Bonucci. We'll talk about this, and how the fans are now turning now and becoming more, more welcoming to Bonucci after the move to Milan and back, right? And then you look at Sandro. Listen, that yellow card, I just couldn't believe it was a yellow card. I could not believe it was a yellow card for him. It was ridiculous.
Well, let's get into this. So, obviously, even at the half, I mean, that's another thing. Besides our player performances that I was looking at, is just how shocking Rocky was.
Oh,
Absolutely shocking. I mean, the number of fouls. How D'Ambrosio makes it out of that half without minimum a yellow is beyond
no,
me.
no,
Um,
I was
and
livid. 22 fouls there, Roberto. 22 fouls. And the yellow card finally came on the 70th minute. And I just was like, what?
I think it was actually well, yeah, because they finish with three yellows. Two of them were after the
They,
80th.
they, they finished with two yellows, one with Barella and then Vicino. Vicino was the first yellow.
Those and I believe that was in the 80th minute.
Oh, even worse.
Yeah,
I
one
was
was in the 86th and the
even
other one
worse.
was like Barella's was like in stoppage, I think. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's how bad it was. 22 fouls and they got their first yellow in the 80 some odd minute there. It just unbelievable to watch. But it actually made me happy in
Yeah,
the end.
no excuses from Inter.
Exactly. It
Nada di
made me happy
tifosi.
in the end because as we go
Bloody
on,
excuses.
the second half takes on. We make a few substitutions. Higuain gets subbed on, and there was a sub before that too, which was Rodrigo Bentancur
Better.
coming
Yeah,
on for Khedira. And
yeah,
oddly enough, with these subs, we actually took a step back. Dybala slotted into that hole, but we were suffering a little bit there.
yeah,
We weren't having quite the control, and there was a little period there where I was kind of getting worked up because I was like, "What are we doing now? We've had control the whole time. We always looked most likely to score. We got fresh guys in, and now all of a sudden we're losing it. What's the issue?" And
yeah,
I've talked about it a bit, and even in this one, I was in the heat of the moment. I was kind of frustrated that you know, it was Higuain. I was like, why is Ramsey? Because at that time, I did not know. I did not know at that time that Ramsey had warmed up and felt a twinge in his adductor.
yeah,
After knowing that, it all kind of made sense.
yeah,
But Higuain being out there as a sub and whatnot is fantastic. For me, people need to understand, I don't see him as our best in our starting 11. I think Dybala Ronaldo is the play with Ramsey in the hole and we'll get to other options, but I was getting frustrated because I was like, here we are losing control and whatnot. Dybala leaves the pitch and Emre Can actually comes in. I wanted Can in from the start of this particular match because I thought he would match Inter's physicality and be a force for us in there. I wanted him in place of Khedira. I was perfectly fine with Matuidi being in there. I wanted Emre Can in there. Emre Can and Bentancur did a fantastic job of pressing. If it wasn't one, it was always the other on Brozovic. And Brozovic
yeah,
actually starts a lot for them and creates a lot for them. They did a fantastic job. And then, of course, the game goes on. We suffered a little bit, and then all of a sudden we started to slowly kind of gain control back. And then there was this 24 pass sequence where
yeah.
a lot of it. Sorry?
Unbelievable. I mean,
And
unbelievable.
and a lot of it looks like nothing. It looks like
No,
nothing. And
backside.
slowly you start to see a little bit more movement and a little more movement, and then you start to see Inter all of a sudden they're losing shape and they're asking questions of themselves and they're not quite sure where they need to be. And lo and behold, the ball finds Pjanic, and something he didn't do hardly ever under Allegri. He makes a direct forward pass, hits Ronaldo. Ronaldo lays it off for Bentancur, who filled the hole, and then sucked the D in, and Bentancur slides a beautiful ball across in Higuain's pass, sets him through, and Higuain finishes it again. Higuain flushes Merda, and I was jacked. Lost
Yeah,
my mind, jumped up. It just out of control. The amount, like, I cannot describe like how scoring these late goals and being Merda it felt incredible. But take us through, that goal and
yeah. No, this just you come building up to that play. Just so in the first half, we forgot to mention when Ronaldo scored the goal, but Dybala had his foot markedly
yes,
offside, and then
yes,
he was celebrating. He did his twirl, and Hurricane kind of stuff. And you know what? I was, in relation to the reason why I brought that up was because I was going up and down like a crazy man.
me too.
You know, my other half thought something's happened. You know, something seriously has happened. But and then VAR, and you see the Rocky going like, oh, you know. And I think this could be for another podcast. But VAR is great, but there's a time and place for it. We will talk about it maybe on another podcast one day. But you know, just to build up to that game right from second half, it was T on T and Juve. You know, it was looked like Inter was coming slowly back into the game. And when we made that substitute around the 60th minute, Bentancur coming on, at that point, it seemed that Inter then got the front foot on the game, right? And then they seemed to progress a lot more. And then you could see Sarri was then thinking, okay, well, you know, what are we going to do with this? So he changed. Funny enough, I don't know if people noticed it, but he changed his formation. He went from when he brought Higuain on the 60th minute, he had a 4-3-1-2, I believe, with Ronaldo. He then changed that to a 4. Well, I think he did a formation so that Higuain came in, and then there was a slight change where Benedeschi was then kind of more played out from the hole. Then he was kind of removed almost in a sense. And again, that's when he had that shot on Tolo on the 70th. And then you see Emre Can come on, and you think, what is he playing for a draw now? I mean, Emre Can's not known for attacking play. What's he doing? He's going to play counter football now? We don't know. Well, come to the 80th minute and that 24-touch ball. And if anyone was to see that, I'll tweet this after this. There's a kind of like a chalkboard, like Champ Manager. There's like dots, how it all worked. It was unbelievable how the ball went forward, a bit back, across. And you can see how, and if you see the video, actually, you can see how Inter hold a straight 4, or like a 4 at the back. And then suddenly it warped, and then there was suddenly space in the middle. How they've pulled the middle out, and Pjanic to Ronaldo, and then Ronaldo obviously to Bentancur, and then Bentancur, literally lovely low centre ball pass, 18-yard box. Higuain, you know what? On Higuain, he reminds me of Trezeguet. Doesn't do much off the ball. You know, he's always got his hand. You know, it seems a bit lazy or whatever. But give him the ball in the box, in the 18-yard box, and he gets a clean shot. More than likely, he will either score or it will save or hit the post. I mean, Higuain is. Yeah.
And that's my thing is, you know, Higuain, and everybody's like instantly when he scores that goal, you know, I'm way too happy to beat Merda to care about who's right, who's wrong. It's not about who's right, who's wrong. The thing with Bipita is on that particular play, he has to finish that. He absolutely has to. If you're a striker and you want to play at Juve's level, you get sent in like that, you have to bury. So it is what it is. My only thing is, I find we sacrifice a lot of the play when he's in there as opposed to Dybala, especially the way Dybala has hit this season running. And then to hear his words post-match, it was fantastic. And we could touch on that too. But towards the end of this match, you know, we hung on a little bit, but still Inter Merida's not doing a whole bunch. You know, trying to throw some crosses in there and whatnot. And Juve actually looked even strong on the set pieces and defending them and whatnot, and it was great, unbelievable, just great. We close it out, take the win, 2-1. Conte marches down the tunnel. He can go. I don't care where the hell he goes. I was so jacked
that's
up.
That's unsporting though.
You know, and we even missed because I'm not sure what had happened, but. You know, this whole match, there's so many talking points. There's Leonardo Bonucci, you know, for me. I've been very vocal about everything that went down. I was at the match. He celebrated in front of us when we played Milan. I was there. I saw him take the pitch before the match in his suit and tie and walk out to center and stare at everybody and do a complete 360 and scan the crowd and hearing the jeers, hearing the boos and stuff, and then walk back and then celebrate right in front of us after he scored. And you know, to see him now taking the reins, so to speak, with Chiellini out and really putting in another solid shift.
Agreed.
You know, it's fantastic to see. Have I forgiven him? I'm a pretty stubborn man and sometimes very tough. I have not on a personal level, but I am extremely, extremely impressed and happy with what he's doing, and credit where credit's due. Him and De Ligt are working fantastically together. There was also a little bit of a brouhaha, a little bit of a
Yeah.
skirmish at halftime. I didn't happen to catch it based on the feed that I was watching, what exactly was going on, but Bonucci was right in the heart of it, and I love to see that. It was great. I don't know if your feed was different from mine. You got to see kind of what had
No,
happened.
the official. Obviously, I was watching an official. I was watching on the channel, and then the fact is that it kind of panned out when the scuffle already happened. There was seeming a bit of a push and a shove, and you could see Bonucci coming in, and that's when the shot came in, and you can see Bonucci coming in, and it was pretty much kind of broken down really quickly, right? And because it can get very hairy being Inter, La Merda, and Juve,
Yeah.
but that kind of panned out. And just to your point about Bonucci, I think look. If he had not done that celebration when he scored against us, I don't think we would have been as angst against him. But look, like the saying goes, time heals everything. And I think over time, if Bonucci, for example, hypothetically speaking, Champions League final scores the winning goal for us, right? I'm just hypothetically speaking. I think it all will be forgiven quite quickly.
Yeah.
Because fans, look, I'm a fan, I'm a tifoso, I'm a supporter, whatever you want to call me. A lot of fans out there are very fickle, and I mean that with respect in the sense, people are quite easy to point the guns out to the players and tomorrow, I have no sympathy, right? They are paid extortionate amount of money kicking a leather ball with air in it. That's all it is, right? Hundreds and thousands of euros. I expect the best from them. I expect them to run for 90 minutes. And Bonucci, coming back to Bonucci, it's look, Chiellini's injury, in a way, I'm trying to be positive about this injury, even though it's a killer. It's kind of brought him up onto the mantelpiece and saying, okay, I need to be the Chiellini, the George of this team, and bring De Ligt with it. And De Ligt obviously and they're building that bond. So, look, it's good to see.
That's a great point because if Chiellini's there, Bonucci doesn't have to be. He knows there's some leeway there and he can get away with it. With that guy gone, it's like, wow, I got to get it going. And you know what? Props to him because he is. You know what? It's just, for me, it's just going to take time. It's not to say that he can't get there and that we can't finally all let it go. He's definitely on the right path, though. He's starting to do things properly and get back into that mode that he needs to. And I said it really from the top of the season. He come back and I just said, you got to get your head down and you got to grind and you got to get back to where you were with us and just don't say anything. Don't talk about it anymore, what had happened in the past. Just, he did actually come out and say it was a mistake. He realized that after the fact and whatnot, but that's great, Leave it at that, get your head down, do the job, and he is, so props to him. On this one, it's always hard with the Derby d'Italia, any rivalry matches, you kind of throw the tactics out the window. So this one, there's not a whole lot to even break down tactically, to be honest. I thought both managers did exactly what I thought they would do. I knew Merda was going to try to bully and play that physical game, especially in their house. I totally expected it. I did not anticipate the ref to be ridiculously lenient with them in doing that.
On the pitch.
Yeah.
Such a big stage, which is a shame.
Tactically, though, for this match, all I will say is I'm very, very impressed with what Sarri's been able to do. And we're talking a drastic change in football approach from what we had prior to what we're doing now. And credit where credit's due, because he still had Matuidi and Khedira and Pjanic in there, and he's managed to get these guys to fall in line and actually play this system. Khedira obviously struggled this match. He wasn't good, but the fact of the matter is we were ready to ship off so many guys that Sarri is showing us, hey, you know what? These guys can play. It's just matching a system to what you have. And he talked about it too early in one of his early press conferences, and he said, you guys worry so much about 4-3-3 and you say I can only do 4-3-3. It's like it's all about matching what you have. And I was very impressed and happy to hear that, because we've seen the 4-4-2. We've seen his 4-3-3. We've seen a 4-3-1-2. He's asking questions. He's finding out answers, and he's reviving players. Dybala, we were ready to bail. Juan Cuadrado, he's doing fantastic with the same guys we had. And now the fact that you throw into the mix an Aaron Ramsey, you throw into the mix a Rabiot who's gonna, find his place. I'm sure of it. And then you have De Ligt coming in. Like, it's just we've been succeeding. He's lost Douglas Costa, you know. So now we enter the international break. He's had obviously Cuadrado's filled in fantastic right back. This particular match, I did find myself getting a little more frustrated with him, slowing up a lot of plays. But at the end of the day, worked out. We won 2-1. I'm not going to rag on him because he's done a fantastic job filling in. So I can't.
Can you imagine, Alberto, the irony when Danilo's back fit and De Sciglio's back fit, that he's going to keep those two out?
That is something I was going to touch on, Auber.
Mind-blowing. I just find that so...
how can that be? I was literally going to touch on that, and I figure these guys come back, they're out of a job.
Pretty much.
They're going to take the backup. De Sciglio at least can give Sandro a rest because he can play left, and we have to give Sandro some rest. This guy, holy man. And you know what? He's been a rock. He has been a rock back there. And, he started the Merida match, I thought, a little bit off, making some odd decisions. He threw one back to Szczesny that was like, what are you doing, man? He just gunned it back to him, and I was like, my God, man. But after that first little initial few minutes, Sandro just ended up being himself, and he was great. All the guys busted their ass for this match.
I think for me, and this is just my opinion, obviously, and people might see it different. My top players for Juventus that match was Ronaldo. I think he was, for me, the star man. I mean, what he did a lot off the ball. And bringing the game into with players. Dybala coming in as well. He had a fantastic first half. Higuain, I can't fault him. Knowing the pressure he was under to score that goal, and to be honest, Pjanic. I mean, Pjanic. He, apart from the little blimp with Szczesny in the first half, Pjanic again. I always question what does he do, and now I'm being proven again wrong. Is the fact that he's doing a lot, and he was playing, he's orchestrating the field, the ball game right from the D on our side. So, I think those were my top players. And you know what? Talking about top players, and you're talking about there was an interesting stat that I want to share with you that about the passes, right? And like passes turns into goals and possession, etc. Inter had 480 passes, right? And Juve only had 400, about 401 passes to be precise. Of the 480, Inter were 465 accurate, and we were 400 accurate. So we were one off on our passes. So in the Allegri days, I'm not belittling the Allegri, we weren't as sharp on our passing. Now, I don't know if it's Sarri or coincidence, but, Bentancur and Can, who were substitutes, had the most successful pass rates of about almost 100 passes, which is insane. It's insane. It's just, 100% pass rate on both. Sorry, not 100 balls, 100% pass rate. So it's great to see. I mean, you could see these little signs really early in the season, and now it's just like really starting to come forth, and the possibilities are incredible. I mean, when you think about the fact that we still have an incredible weapon in Douglas Costa that's going to be coming back apparently, because now we enter the international break. De Sciglio, Danilo, and Costa are all expected back after the international break, which will be fantastic. Welcome with open arms, Costa. But Alberto, with Costa, just sorry to interrupt you, I'm a big fan of him, but I see him as someone coming on the 60th minute when we need injection in the game and a complete new, fresh way of playing. That's my opinion.
Well, this is where we get to. This is the common theme here. A lot of questions now based on, obviously, how well Juve's played in the 4-3-1-2 recently is, where does Costa fit? What do we do with Costa moving forward? For me, and I actually had somebody comment that Costa can go in the trequartista role. For me, I don't believe that. I don't think he could play in the trequartista role. For me, though, I think you almost have your two almost sets and just use them as a set. So the nice thing about the 4-3-1-2 or even the 4-3-3 is you can switch from one to the other so quickly, so freely, and we have good personnel to make that work. For me, if Costa's out there, I still want to see it. I still want to see Ronaldo, Dybala, and Costa in a 3-man front. I want to see it, because then people bring up the question, well, where's Ramsey? Ramsey could still be a box-to-box as one of your 3 midfielders. There's no question there. He can do that, no problem. He can play in the hole too. He's a versatile guy. We knew that when we got him. So he could still be in there if we wanted. Or you could treat that as a set and find out how it works. Dybala, Ronaldo, Costa. And then, if you have to, Ramsey in the hole with Dybala, Ronaldo up top. You can have Higuain with Costa on the wing and Ronaldo at times. There's a lot of possibilities of what we can do. Could Costa possibly be somebody that plays up front with somebody in the hole? So it's almost like you're still doing a 4-3-3, but it's a false 9 where that player drops a bit. Essentially the same thing with the hole. And could Costa be somebody that's outright up in attack? I don't know. We've never seen it. We've always demanded him to control the play and have the ball at his feet. And we almost don't even need it now based on the style and the system we play. We can almost unleash him in a different manner now.
I mean, and look, like I said to you at the beginning before, I mean, I'm a big fan of Costa. I like his play. I like how he likes to aggressively take the ball and run with it, because that's what I was saying during the Inter game. I think maybe Juve as a whole, we missed that kind of play, like a Carlos Tevez, taking the ball and not scared to run with it diagonally, straight back, just run with the ball. If you lose it, but then still run with it. And Costa's one of the few players in the Juventus squad that actually does that, run with the ball. Now, I personally, I mean, one of the key factors, and Conte mentioned this after the post, and this goes quite nicely to the post-match interview. Conte mentioned this, right, about the depth of squad. And there's the difference, right, between what Inter had in their starting 11 to our starting 11, but the bench, right? If you look at the bench, there's a lot of, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Italian players on Inter, which is unusual for Inter, because Inter is renowned for Internazionale, no? But you look at the depth of the squad, and I think to myself, when Costa's back on, and this was, for me, perfect time, 1-1, 60th minute, and you think, okay, we need something to break this. We need something to get a free kick and get Dybala or Pjanic onto the free kick, or get the ball going, get the game going again. And that's when I think, man, bring Costa on. Jeez, that bring someone of that caliber onto the pitch, on the seat. That we have that luxury of doing that. I think that, to me, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see what you've just mentioned, Dybala, Ronaldo, Costa start. But personally, I would love to see Costa come on 60th minute, half an hour, run his bollocks off, and really smashing the ball around and getting into really dangerous positions. And it's I can't wait when he's back back fit.
I agree with you 100%. For the way I look at it is Douglas Costa as a super sub. We know what he can do against tired legs, right? There's no question. I just think, being early in the season, we should find out what we have there with those 3 up front and just see how it works, and just find out, right? Because if it doesn't, then at least we know, right? And you try it a few times, see how it works. Coming off the bench against tired legs, 60th to 65th minute, Douglas Costa is a monster that no fullback wants to see come on the pitch at that time on fresh legs, right? So we know that. I just think we need to. Sarri's doing a great job of finding these answers, asking these questions, seeing what he has, who works where, what's working well, what doesn't. I think he's doing a great job. Your players of the match you touched on. Glad you brought all them up. We're going to get into it. Miralem Pjanic he looks a different player. Does he not?
He does
this season?
And the Sarri he's just a different type of player, complete different type of player.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see. He's moving. He just looks a lot more. He has a lot more freedom. I think,
and he dictates the games now. He's starting to dictate games, which he used to do at Roma. That's exactly what he used to do.
Exactly, yeah. And he's moving up higher up the pitch. Obviously, he's got a couple banging goals off those volleys, and he's getting up in those spots, and he's not scared to shoot. And I love it. We just need to get the guy on those damn free kicks.
Well, yeah, I think there was just on the questions onto this podcast. Is Ronaldo the man who's taking free kicks? Now, look. Ronaldo, if we have Pjanic and Dybala, I think we should give it to them. Ronaldo, more than he's only scored, I think this year I've seen him score the free kick for Portugal as a free kick, and I think it was against France, but he scored it, but not with us.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing, right? I mean, it's tough, but it's just it just has to happen. I mean, I get it. Where it's just like, well, it's Ronaldo, he's just like, he's going to get one, he'll find the rhythm. It's like, no, you've got to play the percentages for me.
Yeah.
You have to play the percentages. Dybala from the right is devastating. Pjanic from the left, even central, is devastating. Let them have that, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You're going to have so many goals. And here, let's touch on that. We have some people that are really ragging on Ronaldo. I thought he had a great performance despite, obviously you touched on it too, Dybala, just a shade offside on a great build-up, another great build-up. And when he scored that, I lost it, and I was so choked to see it was offside, just barely. But he had a great game. He smacked that other one in the 6th, 7th minute right off the crossbar too. A brilliant hit. Some people are just really taking it to what's wrong with him. He seems off this year. I don't think he seems off. He's had a little bit of a trend where he starts off slow, and to be honest, I'm okay with that. I love the fact that we're winning with him not rolling, because I'm not questioning, is he going to get it going? I know he will. Yeah. He's that player. He will get it going. I still think he's going to finish up.
And what's great is it's not like we need, I'm going to say we don't need him, but it's like we're winning games with goals that are not scored by him, and so we don't have that excuse, especially from Inter di Merda, because you've got Ronaldo, and he scores all the winning goals. To me, before the game, I did predict a 3-0 win Juventus, hat-trick Ronaldo, because Ronaldo is made for the big games. When the big games come on, he always performs, right? On big games.
I am totally fine with him, starting off slow, and if he gets it rolling and crunch up, because I don't even think it's a matter of if. He will get it going. And the fact that we're getting these results, and we're one of the unbeaten teams in Europe with him not rolling, fantastic. I'll take that. Take that every day. We have to think about this. We have to look at this as a whole. To think that we would come out of this or work through this transition with Maurizio Sarri and, have 2 Champions League group stage games, play Napoli, play Merda, and to come out unbeaten, I don't think anybody would have thought we wouldn't have, possibly come out with an L somewhere here or there. I think we thought the transition was going to be a lot more rough.
Yeah.
Was that what your thoughts were coming through? I thought we'd suffer a little bit early on. And I thought halfway through, we'd really, really turn it on and go towards the end. I still always thought the Scudetto was ours to lose. But I thought the growing pains would be much more visible when up. But it's been great, actually. Sarri's done a really, really great job. If you look at this, aside from the match against Fiorentina, and, parts of Brescia match, we've been in control of every match.
Yeah. I mean, Bayer Leverkusen was a good example. I mean, we just absolutely dominate. We took the chances. Dominated the ball, dominated the game. Look, I think, Maurizio Sarri's, you've seen the glimpses of this famous Sarri ball that people have coined, especially in England. They've coined this Sarri ball thing, which where the fans were kind of chanting sick of the Sarri ball, like F Sarri ball. But anyway, I think we got to give him. I don't know. People say, "Oh, Conte's smashed it around. He's only just joined Inter." Yes, okay, fair enough. But with Sarri's point of view, it's a complete change of philosophy of football, and
Yes.
I think people need to understand that it's not about formations. It's not about players going in, round players in square pegs, and it's a change of philosophy, and that change of philosophy is what you just nailed on the head about 20 minutes ago. Pjanic in Allegri's system would have never done that through ball, right, to Ronaldo for them to Bentancur, that direct ball that wouldn't have happened, right? And you can see that, and you can see that philosophy changing. It will take time, and look. Come winter champions. If it's Inter, I couldn't give a shit if it's Inter. But come the winter, and we should then sit down and say half the season's gone through, and we say, okay, look at the evolve of our football. The possession, the passing. I threw some stats about the passing. That wouldn't have been Allegri. It wouldn't have been that kind of football. So that 24 pass. Never. That one of the things is no one is jumping up and down about this in the media because it's not Barcelona. If it was Barcelona, everyone would be like creaming their pants. Because it was Juve, obviously it's kind of under the radar. But like you were saying, and I'll definitely tweet this after this podcast. That chalk, that kind of, you just see how the ball moves, and you can see it pulls back, and that's Sarri.
It's incredible. Just to watch it take shape and to come through. Like I said. We started off with the tricky schedule and come through unscathed and playing good ball. We're playing good ball. People need to look back, and the biggest eye opener for me was when we faced. I can't remember the first lowly side we played this season, but like park the bus on us. That's a match where last season. We probably don't get an attempt on goal till like the 60-something odd minute. Yeah. But now we continue to work. It's either inside, it's on the flank, it's coming back out.
Yeah.
We find ways to get the ball in areas to create scoring chances, and we're creating the chances. I'm so happy to see that because last year it would have been get it out wide, cross it in. They're parking the bus. It's terrible. It was so frustrating.
Sorry? By the way, when you see, by the way, Asamoah did that. I mean, I like the play. Don't get me wrong. He did well for Juventus, but he did that. I knew when he would get the ball for Inter, he would cut in and pass the ball. He would never try and dribble. He'll never do that or try and do a quick pass. He stopped crossing now, but he will always pass the ball in. And Juve, we have a tendency. I think the Brescia game was a classic example you mentioned. We looked like we were back in the old habits of playing that silly cross the ball in and guns ho, let's hope the ball goes into the box and someone heads it. But we stopped doing that. So now listen, overall, look, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I tweeted the guy hang gliding over the clouds in Switzerland. I thought that's how I felt. I mean, that's how I felt. I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. The fact that we beat La Merda, and the fact is they can come up with all these connotations. Oh yeah, but De Ligt tapped Lukaku for a penalty, but you know what? The stats don't lie. 22 fouls, never a yellow card until the 80th minute. Referee had an appalling game. I mean, they showed that clip with Bonucci giving a high five to the referee. That's a game bollocks. The fact is, and now that video that I tweeted, it shows that it wasn't a handball. So listen, shut the hell up, Inter. Move on. We will move on. And we need to concentrate on our next game. We've got an international break now, and it's great because now we've got this gap, but we're psychologically now 1 point ahead. It's great. I'm a happy boy. I'm a happy Juventino.
Oh, yeah. All Juventini should be ecstatic. It's always a treat to beat Merda, to do it at a packed house, house. Fantastic.
Most viewed game of the year as well, this season as well.
Yeah, fantastic. It's just this was great. And to be honest, I mean, the way that, like I said, when they had that holy shit moment early on, it could have got ugly. And, like I said, Dybala touch offside, Ronaldo smacking the bar. We were all over him. This could have been that scoreline flatters Merda. Because honestly, Juve was in control, and I love where this team is headed. Yeah, I'm pumped. Now, we touched on a couple of the questions just in the discussion. We touched on Douglas Costa coming back. Obviously, there was the question about Ronaldo and just is his hype coming to an end, and the free kicks and whatnot. I don't think there's any issue there with Ronaldo. He's going to get it.
No whatsoever.
There's no problem there. The free kicks, I would personally like to see, as we discussed, Pjanic and Dybala take them. Will it happen? I don't really know. Time will tell, but I don't know. I can't see Ronaldo giving them up. It would have to be Sarri just stepping up and saying, hey, you know what? I want this guy taking it. Apparently, even last year, Allegri said it was a rotational thing, but I don't know. I didn't see much of a rotation at all. But, we touched on where you are with the club and whatnot, how you're feeling right now. Obviously, this is just incredible. I love it. I absolutely love it. So much hype built around Merda. I always said it. I was like, you know what? I don't care that you beat Lecce 5-0. I don't care. I said it on my last podcast. I want to see how you react when the top dogs come in. I want you guys to prove it. Take us on, beat us, and then you guys can talk. They can't do that. They couldn't do that. And oh man, is it sweet. Oh yeah, Merda. Take that. Get lost. Get out of here. And then the fans. This was the best, my favorite part about it all. And I talked about it earlier. I said I was glad Rocky was such a toilet. Because, and they are still trying to say that ref favored Juve. I don't know what match they were watching. They obviously didn't watch the match because there's no way on earth anybody could have watched that match and said he favored Juventus. They pick a stupid little clip with Bonucci and Rocky, just high-fiving each other on a walk by. I don't even know the context of it. They don't even know the context of it. They don't care to. It just fits a little narrative of being whiny little bitches.
But that's my point. That's a typical interista di madre fra tifosi. They've always got excuses. They've always got some bullshit thing. And if they don't get it their way, they obviously blame. I find it all ironic because, and I can tell you, when things won't go their way, they will turn their daggers onto Conte and then calling him a Juve mad, this and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
But hold on. You guys are praising his son. And that's why I cannot... Listen, it goes a long way. This is not just for this game. It stems a long way from the history of Inter. And the fact is, at the end of the day, I think for me, how it's summed up between Inter and Juventus, right, is what Conte said in his post-match interview. He said it's a skyscraper. Right now, there's a skyscraper, which is Juventus. Bang, 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 right at the top. And then they can't see the light yet. They're building. And this is the project that he's referring to, this project they want to build. Pepe Morata's talking about. They want to try and build. But right now, all they see is this Juventus skyscraper. They are nearly Trump style. They're nearly the Nelly Tower, for example. And he summed it up. And indirect, that's a compliment to Juventus. And, at the end of the day, Inter this week played Barcelona. First few minutes, jammy goal. First half, they didn't play too bad, but then second half, Barcelona ruined it, right? Come play against Juventus. Now you're playing quality, decent teams, and they're getting found out. I cannot understand why people are saying, yeah, but they beat Milan. I'm sorry to see Milan at the state that they're in, because Milan are not the squad that they used to be back in the 2000s, 90s, and 80s. It's not a team to be worried about. So, first test for Inter was us. And look what they've done.
I'm glad you brought up the Barca match because this is we got kind of sidetracked when I wanted to say there's not a whole lot of tactics and whatnot discussion when it's these rivalry games. But you go to that Barca match. First half, Inter looked pretty good to be fair. Merda looked pretty good. Second half, Barca made some adjustments.
Yeah.
And then they especially did with getting Vidal on the pitch, changed everything. And in this one, you see it with Conte. He has no alternative.
No.
He's got a 3-5-2.
And that was the problem.
Yeah,
when he was at Juventus.
That
was the problem.
Exactly. He's got a 3-5-2, and that's it. He's got the one style of play. It's bully ball. It's physical. Yeah. We're going to counter all day. But that's it. And when it doesn't work, that's it. What adjustments did he make in this particular match? He made nothing. You can say that it's, he doesn't have the depth, because they want to say that he doesn't have the depth coming off the bench that Juve does. That's fine, but make some alterations, because your 3-5-2 was getting chewed up, especially on the corners early in the first half.
It's getting found out.
We were getting out the ball wide. It was spreading out your center backs, and he couldn't figure it out. So it's like, move to a 4-man back line, like shift things up. It's not always about the players you have, and that's the point. Is he made 0 adjustments, and he paid for it. They suffered, and to be honest, and honestly, I could care less. But that's just to them and everybody that it is what it is. We knew this about Conte. It is what it is. And people want to even rag on me because they're like, well, you would have said you were fine with it. I said during the summer, if he was to come back, I would actually have been fine with him being one of the options. I never said he is my option, my top option. Let's go out and get him. But, whatever. The history played a part with it. Now he's gone there. He's dead to me. Now you can just, look up at the skyscraper. It's us. We'll see you later. We'll see you late, I think.
We'll look down from you. See you into the Merda, down in the fog, down there. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, no, that's perfect. We'll blow that wig right off by the end of the season, I'm sure, with the amount of points that we'll separate. And that'll be it. But, Juventini, revel in this. This is
Let's enjoy this. Listen, a lot of Tifosi say, we won, but then there's some certain things. I say, listen, enjoy this. We've beat Merda. We've proven a point to them. Let's forget it now. Let's move on. Let's not get caught in the hysteria now. Let's watch for the next game. I think we've got Bologna coming up, I believe, and that's a tricky game for us all the time, especially with, Sensi, big shout out to all the Bologna fans and, the coach, and I hope everything goes well for him, and, it's... Big games, tricky games are coming up. Banana skin games, I like to call them. So
we come back October 19th against Bologna with the match against Lokomotiv in Champions League right after, 3 days later.
Banana skins.
We're sitting top of the group in Champions League. We're sitting top of Serie A now. And I still believe there's still so much more we can do on the pitch.
Yeah, I agree.
We're growing every single match, and that's fantastic to think that you're gonna go into the second international break, you're gonna be sitting top of Champions League group, sitting top of Serie A, and you're still not rolling, and you still have many injuries, and
Ronaldo's not firing.
Exactly. All these things just excite me even more as I think about this. This is fantastic. But no, I'm just pumped. I'm going to be pumped the entire international break. Just any time we beat Merda, it's fantastic, and
especially at San Siro.
And I absolutely love the video someone created showing the pass sequence leading to the Higuain goal, playing to Celine Dion for the song from Titanic. I love that video. It needs to be on a continuous loop the entire international break. I will start that today because it's amazing. It's fantastic, and I love it. Auber, is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up here?
No, listen, Alberto, I just wanted to say, because obviously you got this on the video now as well, I just wanted to say, everyone, you can see this jersey I'm wearing. This is the classic Gigi Buffon jersey back in the Manchester days. It's the Old Trafford jersey. This is thanks to you, my man, Alberto, doing a great job on everything, on Twitter, podcasts, and now YouTube, a new medium that you're trying to do. But look, guys, great jersey. And I know that you got this Claudio Marquito jersey. Whoever's going to win a lucky bugger. But yeah, great work, and thanks for this. I never wear it, to be honest. I want to keep it nice and clean and safe. But I thought, in homage to you and to say thank you, here it is. The next time you'll see me is probably my favorite black and gold 2015-16 jersey.
Nice.
But yeah, listen. Overall summary, Alberto, I think it's great. We smashed Inter on all levels, in a sense. Not maybe the scoreline that's not reflective of that, and. We need to enjoy that and move on and really, looking forward to the next couple of games, which, like I said, are banana skins. And And to you, thanks again for letting me coming on. And thanks for this. Beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 0203 Gigi Buffon kit, worn in the final. Fantastic. Congrats to you for winning that. And yeah, he touched on it. I've got a Marquisio jersey. I'm not going to wait for the every 500 follower mark. In honor of Principino, I'm gonna just give one away.
Good luck to the guys. Yeah.
So thanks. Good luck to everybody. Make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel to be entered, as well as follow me on Twitter. And Auber, you mentioned the 2015-16 black and gold classic jersey. I like just wrapping up with some fun questions. What's your if you could name a top kit, what's your absolute favorite Juve kit ever?
Undoubtedly 95, 96, blue and yellow.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I even now I get goosebumps even talking about that jersey.
Yeah, it's a beauty. It's an absolute beauty. I have so many. I don't even know if I can narrow it down to one. That one is definitely in the mix. Just iconic kit. So that's very cool, man. Very, very cool. Auber, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Definitely won't be the last time. Thank you so much for joining me, and let's continue the celebrations until we get back on the pitch against Bologna. So Merda, you guys can
Juventus.
Merda, you could suck on that. I hope you enjoyed your time at the top, because I don't see Juve giving it up. So too bad, so sad.
There we go. Yeah, and I look forward to all your future podcasts as well, and hopefully get Socios on as well, which I'm hoping you can get them on because they're doing a lot of great work for us as well.
I'm doing some work there, trying to get them on, trying to get their admin on. We're gonna try and make some work. Those guys are doing.
Get Maurizio on as well from around Turin as well.
I will work on him. He's a tough cookie to crack, but I'm going to get it done. I might have to offer him a lifetime supply of beer every time he's in Canada, but I'm willing to do that. Whatever it takes. No, that's good, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Alberto. Thanks again, man.
You bet. Juventini, revel in this. Enjoy the international break. We'll be back October 19th against Bologna, and I'll have my boy Saeed from the Juve SoCal Club joining me for that one. I've been trying to get him on for a while too, so looking forward to chatting with him. You guys, take care. As always, Forza Juve, fino alla fine. Ciao.
Forza Juve. Ciao.